I really want to see him put together a good game from start to finish where he is the main carry of Team WE as opposed to a guy like Monki, because that lets me know that Team WE can play through a second dimension. I think that's going to be the biggest thing that they're going to need to figure out if they want to go be a top 4 team, if they want to go make Worlds and even potentially be successful at Worlds. We're heading into the second draft of the series here. Already a lot of the more common bans getting taken out. The Syndra not going to be available, so Tangyuan's not going to be able to get his hands on it, but hopefully they won't put him on Anivia duty again.
You know, I just found out while you were going through the early draft that Harry Potter played less than 10 Quidditch games in his career at Hogwarts. That's even worse than Joel Embiid's stats right there in terms of usage. It's not great. You were not happy about it.
All right, dude. Remind me, what's your team doing again?
We're gonna. Hey, Caleb Wilson looks good. It's gonna be better next year. It's got to be if you guys are gonna compete for a title, which could be fun. But we're competing for some League of Legends wins here, as we have Varus answered with a Jhin in the bot lane. A lot of fans will not be happy to see that from LGD, and of course with Varus early picked, some potential to flex that one around. Something that I think Cube is not one of the top laners that's taken the most advantage of that. But something that I really hope to see all top laners try and take advantage of, as we might be seeing, instead of the Varus being put up top, we could be seeing a Vayne.
Dude, all right, so hear me out, all right? We lock in Vayne, and then we do exactly what you just mentioned a couple moments ago. We send an Ivern mid. We put Karis on the Ivern, right? We give double shields for our AD carries, and we just have a good time. Unironically, like, I would love to see something like that happen. Maybe not in the mid lane, but, like, what if Monki just picked Ivern in the jungle, right? The most anti-Monki champion I've seen in my life, but it would just be so good for the team.
Monki would be, he'd be on his Tarzan arc, and I don't mean the LPL player, I mean the true, like, friend of the forest arc, you know, if he plays Ivern, you know?
Well, it'll just be a Nocturne, so that's one way to help your AD carries. If they can't hit your carries, you're helping them, and, yeah.
Nefiri's very valuable here, going into the Varus. This was a champion that was actually being played top into the Varus. We do expect this to be Vayne top into the Gnar, which is a counter that was kind of popularized here in the LPL and then Varus bot for a bout. Cube has 2 games of Varus top, and then no other marksman played. So this would be his first Vayne game of the year up in the top lane for Team WE. But looks like we have tops, jungles, and ADs locked in, so expect to see a lot of bans, mostly at support, as we've seen a lot of Camille and Bard bans, I think, globally. LPL has been a little bit more keen to let those champs through, which I've found kind of interesting. And yeah, Shen ban immediately prompts the Camille ban, as that has been a common handshake the team's been signing up for.
I'm curious to see if we go a little bit more Enchanter-oriented here. I think a champion like Lulu for Team WE would actually give you a lot of value.
Yeah.
You're kind of doing the same thing, though, where you are going, hey, we are not picking a roaming support. Please don't pick a roaming support on us, because if you do, we will be in big trouble. So we'll see what both of these teams determine that they're going to do. Do you want to draft for the meta? Do you want to draft for your composition? With a potential Leona showing, there are some worries if you elect to lock in something like a loop.
I believe this is Crisp's world skin that he might be piloting here, as he locks in that Leona. And yeah, I think this is the Poppy game. If Erha wants to play some Poppy support, I'd love that in the Nefiri Leona.
Be a good pick.
Be really good at shutting down the Nefiri ults coming into the double marksman backline. A Nocturne can't keep that out either. It's playable in Leona. Of course, you can stop the Zenith Blade coming in. You do get stat checked early on, but Poppy later on is a beast. So it looks like we got some Poppy support here. And we'll see what Karis wants to blind mid, as mids are MIA so far in the draft.
Could just be an Aurora here.
I think it just might be Victor. I think they need a little bit more CC, though. This might be a Cinder look. Or, Silas with Leona Gnarl. It's very playable.
Yeah, this would be solid. It does make them rather short-ranged. It does make them rather short-ranged, right? Vayne doesn't have crazy good range. Varus, outside of his Q, pretty short-range AD carry as far as range champions go. If you lock in this Annie, that is a very good pickup. Your mid-jungle duo is going to be strong. Tangyuan's going to have opportunities to hit multi-man Tibbers if this is what they want to go for.
I would like it. I think this makes sense for LGD, as Okay, gonna be Aurora. A little bit more damage, a little bit less control over the game. I think this puts more of an emphasis on LGD early on. If this Vayne, Poppy, Varus gets to the later stages of this game, I don't trust LGD to win as much. As I expect the DPS for Team WE to run rampant in those later stages. However, early on, I think a one-item team fight with Aurora, Naafiri, Gnar could do a number on Team WE. And LGD, at least they patched up, I think, the biggest flaw of the last game, which really was the draft.
No, wait. Are we sending Gnar mid?
This to be the case. If it is,
are we sending Gnar mid? This is okay. So this is something that Tangyuan has done, where he's taken some top lane carries and played them in the mid lane to open things up for Burdol a little bit. But he hasn't played this yet. And into a Sylas, this is actually kind of gas. Wait a minute. Yo, they're cooking.
They're trying, but like the nice part about Sylas is that you want Gnar ult, and there is a world where Zeus was making a name for himself playing Sylas in the Gnar when he was coming up, and a lot of teams were taking Gnar away from him because he was then and now one of the best Gnars that we have in the world. So this is a matchup where I think in the short lanes, Sylas is going to be just fine, and you still get access to Gnar ult. The real change is that Aurora into Vayne, there is a lot more pressure early, so curious if LGD is able to get up and get active in the top lane at all. Because I think the big difference for this game is that Crisp is going to be able to at least try and match the roams, and Crisp and Shaoye might be able to get pushed, which can really help enable Crisp to go impact this top lane.
Well, this game just got very exciting. Game 2 of this best of 3 series starting now. All right, I think we've probably already made it past the Gyos, to be honest. I think everybody was a little too excited about what's going on here. Okay, so let's break this down. So you think that in the short lane that Sylas is not going to really have a difficult time? I think
the lane should be easier for him mid than top in the short lane, yeah? Like that should just be a given.
Yes, as a whole. Yeah. I don't see a date here, so this appears to be a first time here. I would be surprised if we saw a Gnar mid previously in the LPL, but because of no date, I'm just going to assume this is a first time Gnar mid. I do think that you can... This makes it a little bit harder for Karis because you're dealing with the range into melee, obviously already a little bit difficult. I think he was going to have a tough matchup no matter what. I think this is just more so helps out top a lot.
This is easier for me, mid. I think that Karis is fine. Like, this lane is easier to play mid than top because you're playing ranged and melee in a short lane instead of a long lane. This is being taken to punish top more and see if Burdol can get on the cube. It did force an exhaust out of cube too. So I know exhaust pretty commonly taken on Vayne top, but into the Gnar matchup, you have options. Into Aurora, you don't. You need the exhaust. So I just find it really interesting. Just this was made because I think that Aurora has more potential to get push and shove and move into Sylas early to pressure him more. So I think they're trading down in terms of mid pressure, and I see Naafiri pathing down. So I'm just kind of interested, like, is this a get Naafiri 6 and go top and hope that works? Or is it play on Aurora 6 and Naafiri not 6 and hope that works? Because there isn't crowd control up here unless Crisp comes too, or unless Tangyuan comes too.
A few moments ago, we saw about forced to burn his cleanse as Erha was a little bit slow on the shove into the wall, that heroic charge. So about had to back off as level 3 has been hit by the LGD bot lane. And right now, with the way the lanes are going, I think Monki is okay with this. Remember, he's on the Nocturne. He's going to want to farm up until level 6 and then make his impact known through these paranoias. So it is going to be on Heng to have a little bit more of an early impact in this game. One of the things about this Gnar mid pick, how is Tangyuan going to manage the Gnar bar? As I don't think this is a champion he's really played too much of. Already seeing Monki try to make a gank here. Pre-6 hops away, is now going to try to hit that Gnar bar just to make sure that he can get a little bit tankier and survive through the gank.
Of course, that Gnar bar in lane 2 really helps you increase your health pool, as it's a heal whenever you do evolve. Get to keep that health. Is the appearance from Monki mid being punished here by Heng, and 3v3 over the Raptors.
Yeah, health bar's not really there for Team WE right now, so Crisp is looking to just big body in there. He is going to get feared, exchange most of his health bar. Flash forward, but a good denial there from Erha, but Tangyuan with the hop More heroic charges.
Whoa.
Karis goes back in, and a little bit too much dip on that chip as it's first blood for Tangyuan's Gnar mid. Heng wants a little bit more, going to look to take out Monki here in the Darkened Daggers plus the auto attacks. Gets it done. 2 early kills for LGD.
I think that's a big misread from WE again when we're setting up the drafts in these comps, talking about the 1-2 item spike for LGD, their ability to move more early, and what happens there? Crisp is able to move. Monki showed mid. They had full information going into the Raptors, and I really feel like Leona and Gnar is stronger in that scenario than the Sylas and the Nocturne and the Poppy were. So, ends up being a really big win for the Nefiri, as Monki doesn't get full access to the Raptors and goes down in the fight. So Heng's going to be really ahead of the curve now in this game, which I know you mentioned Nocturne getting 6, the importance there, but I think on Nefiri it's almost equally as important as Karis. Woo!
Flashes away. Tangyuan not flashing forward after seeing Erha there. I thought for a second he was going to have the solo bolo, but that phage just means that you get to stick on these melee targets when you're in mini Gnar. So difficult to be able to escape him. Karis, I think, is going to be in a really tough lane moving forward now, but his impact is always going to be once he hits level 6 and how well he can use some of these ultimates.
I mean, I hate to say it there, Yanni, but if that's a long lane, it's a dead Sylas.
No, you're right. You are so right.
The lethal tempo really adding up there. So at least they force Karis out, and Karis behind this game as well, as he's also went down on that Raptor invade and was just forced out again. So LGD 2K gold lead early on, much better position in this game. Again, proactivity really felt like the theme of game 1, as WE were the team that could be proactive. LGD could not. LGD, they got smacked around in this game 1, but this game, taking a lot more proactivity for themselves and putting up more of a contest early on.
And with Monki showing top just to try to clear out that control ward that Burdol put down, this does mean that the dragon is going to go the way of LGD. This does mean that Heng is going to hit level 6 off of it, so should have an opportunity for that Call of the Pack to maybe try and make a play. We do see Crisp hovering around this mid lane as they're going to go take these chickens, and maybe they'll make a play onto Erha, who walks into Fog. So we're going to be secure. They are going to look to move forward here. Tangyuan with the flash and the Gnar into the wall. Scar is trying to come in and is going to Gnar right back in this 2v2, but on the backside, Heng takes care of Erha. Crisp's very low, but guess who goes in trying to finish off this kill? But he misses the Darkened Daggers, and a bounce here for the turnaround, and they bit off a bit more than they could chew. Team WE turning it around from a great play from their mid laner Karis.
Same location, different result for that fight, and Karis taking advantage of Sylas's best feature, which is hijack. You can take your ult and make sure that mine's just a bit better. As again, Sylas and Gnar, this is a good matchup. Like, you're flexing it away from the Vayne, but this is an old school pick that's been used in different patches where Sylas can play well in the Gnar, and part of that is grabbing the Mega Gnar and being able to brawl like this. Gnar needs to be mini to win out the trades against the Sylas. Going Mega, going in like that. Obviously, we're trying to get health bars low and to find kills, which they did find at least on the Erha, but nothing else on the Monki. Good walk from about 2 as he's able to get involved because the fight's taking place on their side of the map. So just a straight up win and comeback for Team WE is the good work for LGD that was done at the last spawn of enemy Raptors gets taken away with this spawn of enemy Raptors.
And it feels like a bit of a disconnect. I think if Heng just went directly onto Monki, who was still level 5 at the time, as soon as Tangyuan got over the wall, I think they blow him up instantly.
I agree.
And now you only have Karis and Erha. Like, sure, Karis is going to hit a 3-man Gnar ultimate there, but I don't think you have the damage to actually turn that around if Monki is the one who falls. So,
yeah,
we just see LGD not on the same page fully again. And as you said, erases a lot of the hard work they got done. They still have this gold lead, but now it's Heng trying to do a solo mission onto these grubs. And Erha is here with Monki to try and shove him off there. He's going to go invulnerable, so wants to stay in, but will think better of it.
Monki's
hopping out. Burdol from the side here drops down that between worlds. Great root coming out from about, and the rest of the team is here. Karis gets his first and is really putting in a lot of work. Crisp shoved up against the wall. They find him. What a condemn onto Tangyuan, and it's a wipe. Team WE picking up 3 more kills. They're going to get a couple of grubs for themselves, and the team play has just been better.
I mean, Karis just blew up that fight. That was a great follow-up on a good chain of corruption from about. But Yoink, just keep your eyes on Karis for this one. Monk's trying to buy time. He's up a level on the Monki, and I thought Monki initially was a little bit deep. Burdol casting the ultimate. I mean, it's a decent look, but Tangyuan's not mega. And Crisp, this engage that just comes in from Karis, I think Crisp way overextends. I think his job is to try and keep Karis out or catch that initial engage or catch the chains of corruption. Instead, it goes on to the priority targets. Karis steals the Leona ult, absolutely blows up the fight with his entrance, and it's now WE in full control of this game.
Yeah, and this mid lane Gnar pick that had, you know, a bit of an advantage early has really gone poorly. Gonna have a fruitful tether go down onto Burdol. Only takes him to about half HP, so there's an unsuccessful paranoia, but with how everything else has been going for Team WE, it could have been a lot worse. Things are still good for them.
I mean, the bad thing for LGD, I know we spent so much time after Game 1, Yanni talking about priority and securing it for this Game 2 draft. But this is a WE where we looked at this game, the draft, and said, you know what? 2-item fight for LGD, like 1 2-item fight, it looks pretty good. After that, I don't like how it looks with a Vayne and a Varus on my screen. I don't care that it's a poke Varus. I think Vayne just kind of runs this game late if Cube's allowed to operate. And they really don't have good CC for Vayne. Like, Leona Gnar is conditional CC for a Vayne who can really play out of that. So I think that this Silas pick for Karis, like, being that bridge, being that melee that can kind of brawl with Nocturne and be his dive buddy, and then the value of Poppy later on, I really do not like this game state for LGD. And I understand an R pick to get out of the Vayne lane, but that was a fight where they took when Gnar was mini, had no chance of being mega. And again, this matchup in the Silas, I like Silas in an R. I think it's a really playable matchup. The fact that Karis is sitting where he's at right now in the game too, super accelerated off the fights, it's not getting easier for Tangyuan.
No. It is a very tough hill to climb. His Mega is going to pop before this Dragon as well. 5 seconds until it's up. Still missing a couple of key flashes. Karis is going to be the one to go in on Tangyuan as they're lying in wait to try to turn this one around. He gnars him right back, shoves him away, knocks him up, and it's another kill going over to Commander Karis. He is now 4-1 on the bottom side, about going to get dove on the back end on a sliver of HP, and it's Crisp who claims that one, but Karis with the teleport abscond abduct in, just trying to buy a little bit of time for Erha and Monki to show up. They're going to try to turn it around, and they do. He goes down. A bit overzealous here is Team WE. Now find themselves in a 3v2 and an opportunity for LGD to secure the second dragon of the game. This is Team WE being a little bit too bloodthirsty, Cubby.
Yeah, I honestly didn't like the flash from about. I feel like he's dead, and blowing flash there really opens them up to Leona, as no summoner spells is just a giant target on your head for Crisp. And then this is a little bold from Monki, trying to flirt with the danger. This dragon should go LGD's way. I didn't mind Karis stepping in. I did not, but looks like we're going to get a replay. Uh-oh. This can't be good if no action happened and we're getting a replay here.
Oh, this was the beginning of this play. This was the beginning of the entire sequence, where we went Gnar for Gnar, and then everybody showed up.
You know, they really threw me off of that. I thought it'd be...
That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, Karis somehow is on the very wrong side of the tracks here. He's going to flash over and find Shaoye regardless, and that's going to turn around on the Heng. Karis is going crazy right now, but he might find himself in a bad way. Goes back in. That Kingslayer is just a ridiculous spell. Riot has nerfed it so many times, and I really didn't think they need to nerf it more. Somehow, some way, they finally find Karis, but that was very close to being a 2-for-1 in a bad way.
I thought Karis played that really well, and he stalled a lot of time for his team, allowed for free resets. Monkey's going to be ahead on the next clear, as Karis did his damnness to try and find a second, was only able to find the one, and again, bought a lot of time. He is big on the Silas. The fact he's throwing his weight around is good, because what can happen on the rest of the map, it's Cube gets farm, it's everyone else gets farm, and we're going to get another look at how this one busted out, as I think Monkey's really just trying to pester as much as we can here, and he loses the camp. goes down, but Karis was here to be the savior.
Yep, was able to at least salvage this play to, obviously it would have ended up being a 2 for 2 if you managed to claim a second kill. But, if you can salvage this and you're already doing stuff like this just at level 10, that's kind of gross.
That and a Fury reset after the gym was really gross. Got him out of the Gnar versus Mega, and then, yeah, that creep died. The idea or the thought was there. Just not quite enough. Didn't quite have the creep to abduct to. But that's okay. I think taking inventory where we're at, it is LGD with a little bit of a lead, but frankly, I mean, I think they need to snowball the game pretty hard against this WE comp. And WE has just been the better team on the day.
No doubt.
Even with LGD, like in an even or close game state, I'm just going to so much favor WE just because the moves we've seen from this team on the map today in this series, it has been WE just having the better series. I know they had all the tools in their toolkit to make plays game 1, but how they've answered back to LGD, I think, in this game has been quite nice. And this comp is going to be better than LGD's if this goes late. So really feel like the pressure's on LGD to have more good plays now. And with a Herald spawning and a Dragon in 2 minutes, we'll see if they can secure these next 2 objectives. I think it's really, really important for them.
I think I'm LGD. Might want to wait just a little bit longer, not necessarily go in on this Herald. Just try to wait for this Dragon, because if you can find yourself an Infernal Soul, it's obviously 2 Dragons away for them. That could be the little extra boost you need to get yourselves over the top, to make sure that your team fighting is just a little bit better than Team WE's, because if you deal more damage, it doesn't matter if your team fighting is a little sloppier. You can still get the job done. While that Herald went over to the Team WE, Tangyuan's going to go get this bottom turret solo. A lot of gold going over to him for the moment, so everything pretty solid in LGD world, but with Erha showing up to the top side, that could be disrupted soon, as Burdol is going to have to retreat from his tier 1 turret.
The first Aurora picked by LGD this year, by the way.
Wow, that's kind of surprising. This champion's been around for a little bit.
Sorry. Tangyuan's got 1 play on it. So second time they've played it this year. But still.
Still criminally low.
I just don't... I'm really against this swap. Like, the more I see it, just because it doesn't feel like Tangyuan's as comfortable on this champion as I know Burdol would be.
The Narbar management has been...
Yeah. I don't want to say vice versa. Like, just say that Burdol's Aurora is not as good as Tangyuan, because I feel like top laners should have an Aurora in their pockets, but I just feel like player proficiency, like, we kind of signed up for really valuing the matchup, and I think that we've seen that pay off a little bit. Like, shout out to MSI.
Here we go, we're flashing forward. Root goes down onto the Snar on the backside, but about is just fine. Rift Herald is going to get dropped down. Monki hops into it before he goes down. Here comes a friendly teleport out of Cube. Now, where are we taking this Rift Herald? It looks like we are just getting out. Monki is going to jungle privilege himself and get a little bit of healing out of it.
Yeah, back to the safety of our camps is where this Rift Herald's going out, but I feel like MSI definitely showed us that you don't always have to have player efficiency. It sometimes can work in draft, but with a pick like
Karis over on the side. What a wonderful pick. And down goes Heng. As the rest of the fight going to shake out. Cube is frontlining right now. Flashes forward and is going to be able to finish off Shaoye. Knock up there from Erha. Crisp not going to really be able to escape here as Karis will run him down. Tangyuan dropping lower and lower. And the damage of Team WE is just too much for LGD to handle. They find a 4-for-1, and they will stop LGD's Dragon stacking.
I know we didn't get to talk about the setup there. I was trying to go down a rabbit hole, but the setups have just been better for WE. It continued with that fight as Karis finding the angle so good there to make sure that they took out the most important member first and took out any hopes of LGD winning the fight from there. As again, I mean, this isn't rocket science. I feel like I'm kind of surprised at how easily Karis was able to sneak around here and find the Fury.
I think what's really crazy was that the dogs went after the wolves because of just him sitting there casting spells, and that made it free for Karis to just land and abscond him duck. There was nothing in the way to stop him.
Really nice E from Erha too. He kept the Meganar from connecting on a bout. That was really well played as he got Gnar mid-hop. And Tangyuan definitely was looking to combo there as Rapture contest.
Up a little bit too far. Paranoia is going to get dropped down, but here's Karis, who's blowing up another fight and picking up his 8th kill of the game. We've talked about this guy and how, you know, split 2, he really showed up in a good way in that playoff run. We need more of that out of him. And here in game 2 against LGD, he is not disappointed.
I just feel like this was the right pick for the game. And this is... I don't know Karis for his Silas play. I mean, he's 1-3 on the champions so far this year. Just to see him have this big of a performance, and again, really, he needed to be the bridge that got Cube into the game, he got his team into the game. He did that tenfold. I think the LGD helped with that second Raptor fight as he got ahead, but his ability to throw his weight around, be that nuisance as Silas in the mid game, it's been really good to see from Karis, and see him really show that Split 2 wasn't an aberration, which... Given his career, I kind of expected Split 2 to be an aberration, but Karis has different thoughts, and that's good to see, because I think that Team WE is going to be successful, going to try and have that same run again. It's got to be Cube and Karis continuing to play better than what we expect for them throughout their career, and this young bot lane to keep on scaling into their own.
And we haven't really seen too much in the way of a bout. He has done the job this game, landing some good ultimates, those Chains of Corruption, but hasn't needed to be the star because the mid-jungle duo has been the stars for Team WE. And overall on the other side, we saw early Heng and Tangyuan doing some things that were positive, but they have not been able to keep up with the firepower that Team WE has set forth. A 2,000 gold lead at 20.5 minutes. That dragon stacking has been broken. And I find it difficult for LGD to get away back into this game. We talked about the scaling of Team WE just being superior to LGD. And it feels like with that one misstep, it is going to be a hell of a mountain to climb, Cubby. How are they going to be able to find a way to try and even out this game, try to put themselves in a position to maybe still secure an Infernal Soul?
I think Crisp had an opportunity in a couple of these fights to find the right target, like the one down sums. I think Crisp has to find Karis, or just be a nuisance to Karis. Karis going to run everything.
We're seeing this again. Yeah. This is a carbon copy of what happened last time at your chickens. They're not yours, Heng. Sorry, bro. And now it's time for the Baron to go over to Team WE. We'll see if LGD want to give this one away. I think that this is their best opportunity they're going to get. And I think they agree. Tangyuan going to teleport in, but he doesn't have any rage in that Narbar.
There's
Chris,
no
looking to front line. See if we can steal this away. Down to about 3,000 HP. Good engage over on the side as Team WE are driving out LGD. The Baron is going to be secured. Crisp is going to flash away. Tangyuan's going to hop away. And Team WE will secure the Purple Worm.
We came into today, Yanni, saying that, you know, this might be a competitive series. Like, we hadn't seen LGD playing together, but both teams were 1-1. We projected both teams to be pretty close to each other in the standings. And this has just been a very convincing best of from Team WE from top to bottom. I think a lot of it has been about what they've done in the fog of war. Game 1, it was about priority. Game 2, for me, it's been about Karis' angles. Karis has just been fantastic. There's no question who the MVP of this game is for Team WE. The finds that he's had, and it's not about Chris finding Karis. It's as much of marking him in these fights, or trying to find out where he's at, and then just trying to stymie him. With the 5-second stuns you have as Leona, obviously you want to find some squishies as Leona, but Karis is so big, it feels like you just have to hamper him. If not, he's running through your entire team.
About is going to be forced to flash away. We have a numbers advantage here for LGD, but Crisp is very low. Erha blows up the back of the fight, and now it's Shaoye who's going to run for the hills, and he's not going anywhere. Oh no, it's the Between Worlds non-bow. But that's okay. Even though they'll lose one on the backside, Team WE will still be able to clean up Burdol. It's a double kill for Karis. I think that's number 10 on the game for him, as Team WE have a big 4v2 advantage with a Baron at their backs.
Connected the Abscond Abduct for 11-2, but the Between Worlds he stole sent him to Narnia versus where he wanted to be in that fight. But the flashiness on the Silas continues. As again, I kind of warned that we felt like the Silas versus Narnia. Like, this is a fine matchup for Silas. Matchup aside, it's just been all Karis with what he's been able to do this game. As, again, this is the guy that's finding the angles. Like, that fight, it felt like the angles were opened up. I love the angle that Erha was able to find coming in. I mean, Yeah, you got to look for finds. About's pretty far up, but he's got a shield at this point. Really helps him get out of the initial idea from LGD. And then look at this angle from Erha. Like, the health bars don't look good early. When Poppy enters the fight like this, you don't have any chance of winning, especially later on when Poppy does get so much value. And then, yeah, here comes Karis as... Not exactly what he wanted with that between worlds. But you know what? Flashiness continues. A good play for Team WA. He continues, and the hopes of LGD continue to be dashed as... Again, this has not been the series they were looking to have today.
I have seen multiple of these fights near the Raptors, and I have seen them go wrong for LGD. The one thing I will say, and the one thing I am a little bit disappointed about with that mid lane fight for Team WE is it's another fight where they have Baron where it's not on their terms. They've taken a lot of bad fights when they've had Baron so far this season. And it feels like they are never in fully sync as a team. Once they get Baron, they get a little too lazy and find themselves getting engaged on. About finds a good angle here, and they will take down Burdol once again.
They've already taken that bot inner turret, so focus has been on mid and top to remove the rest of the inners. Can do so successfully here mid as... Yeah, Burdol on that wave was not it. That wave's at 0 in the middle, and you're playing against a team that did have Baron at the start of the push. Baron has fallen off now, Yanni, but a successful post-Baron push to take the mid inhibitor at that.
Wonderful stuff. A 6.7 thousand gold lead for Team WE. As that was much cleaner this time around. LGD only able to get a top turret for Tangyuan in return. And it feels like we are just one fight away from Team WE coasting to a 2-0 victory. 10 stacks of Medjais for Karis, along with 3 other completed items. He is an absolute menace in this game.
I really like the Silas pick here. Shin's kind of a low damage marksman you'd like to see in the game as Silas. They needed a die buddy for Nocturne a little bit. The double marksman comp, and you had access to Gnar, Leona ult, and Aurora ult, which we've seen him use all the ults successfully, quite frankly. It's been, again, I don't associate Karis with Silas, I really don't, but I'm going to remember this game for a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to remember this game for a little bit. Monki.
Alright, he's okay, he does get turned on, but he's going to get that Mikhails from Erha to keep him upright for the moment, as the siege is going to continue on the top side here for Team WE, as they've gotten that mid lane wave shoved in. Tangyuan forced off here by Karis and Monki. By this time, Karis should be able to steal one of these high-value ultimates again. It looks like LGD will wisely not defend this top inner turret. Just like you have to wait for a moment for Team WE to open themselves up. Perhaps they will over-aggress like they're known for. But we'll see if they give LGD that window. I think they've played a lot more restrained as a whole in both of these games so far, which, if you can get a tame Team WE when they need to, this is going to be a very scary team, Cubby.
Again, kind of bouncing off of what we were talking about after game 1. It feels like with this team, controlled victories almost gives us more confidence in this team than them taking down top teams. And I know that feels weird, but Team WE has been a team that has lacked that consistency. We've seen spurts of when this team's good, but we don't consider them a top dog in the LPL because, I mean, they just went 1-13 the last regular season, right? Yeah, they took top 3 in playoffs, but this is a team where we want to see a start-to-finish good split. And man, this has been a really convincing victory against LGD for me. Did they put the finishing touches on it? Sure feels like they will.
Well, they're certainly going to try right now. And Shaoye is going to be the target. He cannot escape Monki. Karis looking to run amok on the backside. He's got that Gnar ultimate. Heng's got to flash away. But he goes in on Tangyuan. He throws him back into a belt. And Erha's going to steal that one away. Lots of turret shots going down onto Cubby and Monki. They are quite low. But the rest of Team WE appears to be very healthy. Heng over on the backside will be able to find Cube. Now he might want to pop the Guardian Angel on Monki. Monki's still alive. Karis Flashing after him, not going to be able to close that out. Crisp goes in onto a bow, but there's Erha with the double knockup, and it's Crisp who's going to drop. Guardian Angel popped on the Monki. They're going to turn on the Heng, but they still can't find him again. Just trying to delay the inevitable at this point, but Karis is going to have that stolen ultimate, misses the abscond abduct, and somehow, someway, Team WE are still unable to finish the game.
Kind of clutch there to kill the wave in the middle by Heng. And yeah, I gotta say, still gonna be a drag in the take. I feel like these fights are good for WE. I really like the flash that Monki had there to start that fight off, but it needs to be a hair cleaner if they want to make sure that this one gets wrapped up. Still more gold in their pockets, another dragon as well. And at least we get to see one more fight where we can see Karis be a bit flashier, because there's a Seeker's Arm Guard and 4 more pages to the book, Yanni, for the MVP of this game. Be a bit more of a doozy of a fight.
Taking a page out of Knight's book with that Medjai's. See, oh, don't think he'll get it fully stacked by the end of the game, which is sad, because whenever you see somebody with a fully stacked Medjai's able to get into a full team fight, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of damage coming out. It's not so fun for the other team, but it's pretty fun if you are the winning side. A pinch play potentially onto Cube here. Tangyuan just trying to keep his Gnar bar up. Burdol was on the way down, and now that Tangyuan's been spotted, it's time to go. You have to pull this off now. Burdol, though, is late to the play, and they're just putting him in a blender. Cube still trying to stealth away, hops away, but the tumble is not going to be enough to keep him alive. And now LGD looking to turn it around here up on the top side. Curtain call coming out. 4v3. Heng needs to try to find a way in to steal this away. He goes invulnerable. He gets it, and he stole it away. He stole it away from Monki. It will be the one to fall, but it will be a 4v4 at LGD with Baron this time.
I mean, that's Baron on 4. That's a great yoink. I understand the flip there from WE, because both Tangyuan and Burdol needed the TP in if they wanted to have numbers for that fight. They did not, so it was a 4v3. But they couldn't keep him out. Great play by Heng, who goes down, honorably gives away that Baron, and makes sure the rest of his team has it. LGD gets something, but the gold is still rather disastrous. So I think this has to be a Baron where you stabilize and fix the map, and then we're at a point where it's going to be so available for WE, and we still like their team scaling better. But LGD, nice steal from them at Heng. Series isn't wrapped yet, even though it doesn't feel to me that this Baron's going to change the pace of the game.
Another paranoia, and it's Shaoye who steps up too far. He flashes away, but once again falls. It's Tangyuan getting picked off next. And in the blink of an eye, 2 members of LGD drop. Teleport coming in as Cube using that top lane teleport to rejoin the rest of the squad. It's going to be a 5v3. Burdol up on the top side, looking for a flank here on some low health targets, trying to stealth his way in. Erha going to be forced away. He's getting down to about half HP. There's that Between Worlds. It's good damage. Cube gets bursted out as well, but LGD are unable to find more kills. So Team WE will back off once again. LGD holds the line.
I don't know what to say. Okay, another paranoia. That might help us.
All right.
Nope. Just crab secure paranoia from Monki. He's going to have it up for the dragon, and that's going to be where our last fight's at. Item breakpoints we're looking for. I mean, if a BF sword can come in for Shaoye, that's big, but likely no Infinity Edge at this point of the game.
That's tough.
Wit's End for Tangyuan is nice into the Silas. That said, it's not really valuable into anything else in the game, so that's a little bit of a weird build for me. He does have 60% tenacity in this build, too.
Well, there's a lot of CC. There's a lot of CC coming out of Team WE.
There is.
I'll give him a little bit of grace there.
I still feel like we're in the camp where we need a miracle. And I think the biggest positive for LGD in that last sequence is at least they found a play and they took out Cube early, but Monki.
All right,
flash.
Well, they found him again.
Yeah.
Once again, Shaoye is the one who was caught out by the paranoia. This means that Crisp will also have to give his life, and that could be what ends the game. It is a double kill for Monki, 9, 2, and 11 right now, and I don't think LGD can stave off another push because everybody on Team WE is healthy.
I think The 2 deaths I've seen LGD have when mid-waves even have been really tough.
Ultimate down. Erha goes in. There's the first turret to fall. Good damage from Burdol, going back and forth between the worlds, but his other turret has fallen. He is watching his teammates' health bars drop in front of him, and he watches his Nexus drop in front of him. It was not a pretty ending, but Team WE do manage to close out a 2-0 victory against LGD.
Might have not been pretty, but every Nocturne ult that was cast led to, like, at least fight victories for Team WE. Yes, a Baron was yoinked away by LGD that kept things a little bit more interesting. Didn't find the clean fight they were looking for, but yeah, you know, when a Jhin is mid and you're down 7k gold and the Jhin is down flash and you're a Nocturne, that's a pretty nice pathway to try and end the game from there. As good, honestly, a really good series for Team WE. I lost a lot of confidence early on for LGD in this series. I gained a lot of confidence for Team WE. This series for me was a series that is, for me, far more convincing that they can compete against the top 4 of the LPL. Whereas LGD, this is 3 series now where they really don't look synced up as a team, and they definitely have to go back to the shed and find a way to incorporate Crisp and figure out how this group of 5 works.
It does feel like this is a series they're going to want back, right? Because in this first game, you play this convoluted comp that, you know, is not a team fighting comp. When team fighting is like a big name of the game, right? You're not doing this, hey, we're linking up with mid jungle plus support. You're not playing team fighting in the region where you're really known for your team fighting, and being a good team fighting team is paramount, right? You avoid that, and then in game 2, you do the swap, which early on looked pretty good, right? Cube was down in CS. Yeah, Tangyuan getting an early kill, putting a lot of pressure down onto Karis. Things were going well, and then it was that fight at the Raptors over on Team WE's side when Heng's target selection was a little off, and from that moment on, the game was difficult for them to win. Maybe if they swapped them back and they put the Gnar up top and they put the Aurora in the mid lane, we'd have a different result. But it does feel like they're going to point to that and be like, maybe we overcooked a little bit. Yeah,
I think this is the second time that we've seen a Gnar. There was some chatter about Toasty actually played Silas in the Gnar in a game that happened over there in the NLC that I saw. But I think we cooked too hard in this one. I don't see the logic of the Gnar into the Silas when I feel like in the short lane, that's a lane where we've played top. I kind of expect Silas to be down 10, 15 CS when Gnar gets to 100. And then you can play later on with the ults you get. I think in mid, you have a potential to snag more CS because it's the short lane. And you don't get punished like those really long wave states when you get crashes in. And yeah, the Aurora in the Vayne, like we did see it go up big early, but they didn't have the guaranteed plays to really cash in on the Vayne unless the Leona came up. And I think that's might have been what was missing for LG in that game, is like pre-level 6 moves from Chris to try and pressure the Vayne. But yeah, we didn't see that, and we didn't see a lot of stuff from LGD in the series, honestly. This was a series where it really felt like we played at the beat of WE's drum for all but like the first 7 minutes of this game.
Yeah, and we really wanted to see more out of this team. We think this is a team, you and I think that they can get 6th place, and it might be tough. Let's take a look at the standings now, seeing them at 1 and 2. It's not all doom and gloom, but we're not going to see either of these teams until next week, Cubby. LGD's upcoming schedule, the good news is they only have 2 games next week. The bad news is they're against BLG and Top Esports. I think we might be looking at a 1 and 4 start for LGD. Over on the other side, before we discuss that, over on the other side, Team WE, bit of a mixed bag of a week. They've got EDG, and then they end the week with Thunder Talk, but in the middle, they do have a game against BLG.
Well, we'll see what ends up happening in the top lane for BLG and how many games Hoya gets in. That is the very interesting talk of the town.
Yeah, we have no idea what's going on, frankly. You know, it feels like we're just kind of like playing this by ear at this point, where, you know, whoever is BLG's top laner on the day, we're like, you know what? Yeah, man, sure. Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
Yanni, what is your best NBA player comparison for BLG replacing Bin with Hoya?
BLG replacing Bin with Hoya?
Best NBA transaction comparison.
I mean, I think it's trading Jalen Brown to acquire Paul George.
That's not bad. That's not bad. That isn't bad.
Pretty good one.
That's not bad. I like that one. I was talking about this with Slayer. I had to reach back in history a bit. I went Shaq for Kwame Brown.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah.
That might be a more apt comparison.
I think it's Shaq for Kwame Brown. Yeah,
I think it is too, because like, you know, as I'll be real. You know, Paul George is still a solid player. He's still solid. He might not be what he once was, but he's still playable.
Stephen A. Smith's best rant of all time is about Kwame Brown. That's all we need to know. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
He can't play.
So when we talk about player of the game, I think it's got to go over to Karis. What do you think about player of the series? I think it's probably going to go to Monki because he played well enough here in the second game and he got the MVP in the first. You don't think player of the series is going to go to Monki?
I'm Karis player of the series. I thought Karis did have a nice game 1 and he was the man in game 2. I'd actually give this. I would give this to Karis. I felt like Karis had a really nice series. So that's it. Honorable mention Erha. Honorable mention Erha. I just want to say it was unbelievable for me in this offseason that Erha was considered being replaced on WE. Really glad he's back. Really glad he continues to play good league. This guy's a young support that I feel like has a lot of promise. A year or two for him. What is this? Split 3 or 4 for him now in the league. I feel like Erha's been getting better. It's been more consistency out of him. We still see the high highs. I thought his walks in game 1 were fantastic. And this Poppy pick was a game breaker in game 2. It really was.
Not to get distracted, but I just decided to start looking in chat. We have from LeBron to Luol Deng as a pretty good one for Bin De Hoya. Somebody is comparing Bin.
Luol Deng's far better.
Somebody is comparing Bin to Al Horford, which I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Al Horford is a Hall of Famer, but I feel like Bin's a little bit better than that.
I hate Al Horford, bro. He came to the Sixers for 1 year and stunk.
That's true. As a Bulls fan, though, Luol Deng is far more valuable than that. That's all we'll say.
I can agree with that, but it is also a pretty steep drop off.
Bin's not LeBron. You know, Knight's got to be LeBron if anyone. So, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Bin is pretty good. Like, he's definitely on that level of player LeBron in terms of like skill, right?
I also said that like because it was top laners for whatever reason, I defined a big trade comparison. Like, I just associate top laners with bigs. It had to be big for big.
I do too. Listen, when you're a top laner that's playing a carry champion, you're just a stretch 4. Like, it is what it is. But a solid victory. A solid victory here out of Team WE. We're still awaiting the player of the game and the MVP. I think that unfortunately for you, it is going to be a Monki player of the series. Listen, because he got it in game 1 and he had a good stat line in game 2, they're going to give it to him, right? Erha is going to get absolutely robbed today. At least he got some votes in game 1. I don't know if he's going to get a vote in game 2. Maybe the AI will vote for him, you know.
At least the AI got
You'll be Silicon Valley pilt, but I hear the noise, which means that we are, of course, Karis player of the game. I don't think anybody's shocked there.
If the AI didn't vote for Karis, this thing needs to be investigated. if it's a Monki vote again, there's a narrative installed in this thing that we need to discover.
Well, let's see.
There's a little bit too much pre-existing bias.
The thing I hate the most is that when there's an AI vote that's different, they bring up this little blurb why, and I'm too English. I can't read it. But we're 8 for 8 here. At least it was a unanimous vote. Thank God. I would have been surprised any other. So at least there's no narrative baked in or anything like that.
Commander Karis, as you said. I feel like that was very apt, that game, Yanni. As it is Captain Monki on this team, but that game was led by Commander Karis.
Like we said, we need to have a second dimension come out for this team to be able to carry. I think it really needs to be about, I think it's more likely to be about, but if Karis can have games like this and just pop off, why not him? Why not him?
That's true. And again, to see a little bit more consistency out of Karis has really been a joy, especially late in his career. I feel like that's a player that I have counted out and doubted a lot. But the fact that Karis has been a part of this WE squad and paired up with Monki nicely and made runs, I do feel like, you know, this isn't the best mid-jungle duo we have in the league, but I think that they play well together. I really do. I think that their flaws come from over-aggression or Karis just not being good enough with the hands, and Karis' hands have been quite good in Split 2. I really felt like he was big in WE's run, and he had a really nice game today. So congrats to Monki, player of the match, player of the series, as it was a big game 1, and game 2 was enough to make sure he got him over the edge. I was a Karis enjoyer for this one. But the fact we're talking about the mid-jungle duo as both being player of the match for WE, that's a good sign for them, as Team WE had a pretty convincing 2-0 over LGD.
And I love that you pointed out that they're not the best mid-jungle duo that we have in the league.
They play well.
But they're still a solid one. They're solid. Is a lot
synergy.
of that Monki, yes. But Karis will sometimes just do the job if he has to. It's like sometimes he's just like, yep, I live to make sure that my jungler can play the game. And when you can have a player like that who can have these pop-up performances coming up on like a Silas, but has these games on a rise where he's like, hey, I'm doing the job. That's a perfect duality. It is a duality that can make things happen for Team WE and make them a team that we could see represent the LPL at Worlds and be pretty pleased about it, Cubby. But that is it for all you and I, my friend.
Speaking of duality, Yanni, we got a big player coming back into the league coming up next that I think a lot of people are excited for. I'm not going to be a part of that cast. Been fun being joined by you tonight, Yanni. Thanks so much as always, and congrats to landing the Braun. But now we're going to have to see what IG looks like as they've landed the Shaoye. Him and Rookie are back, and we'll see if IG can get out of what is a Group Nirvana match that I think a lot of people see the names of these two orgs and hear Group Nirvana match and go, what happened? But that's where we're at. A pretty high-stakes game.
We have the duality of mid lane, and then we have the duality of the LPL. In Group Nirvana, we have Invictus Gaming versus Weibo Gaming, covered by Foles and Mazel. That'll be coming up right after this break.